Let's relax a little bit. I'm going to use one of my favorite lavender essential oils from the Frenchie here in Round Top, Texas. If you haven't been there, you're missing out. I'm going to put it in my diffuser and turning it on, and let's get this party started. Much better. I decided to do this video for you because I realized that fibroids are so common in so many women, and so many of us suffer. We don't know what our options for. I remember going to the doctor to get my first ultrasound after having pain, a really bad concentrated pain, almost like if you had a really bad period. I suffer from really, really bad periods. And let's say you had all of that pain concentrated in one area. That is what I was feeling on my right side for 3 months consecutively. I'm not someone that likes to take medicine. I think it's great whenever we need it. And I found myself taking it every day just to be able to function and to be able to work. So obviously after a few months, I realized this is unacceptable. Scheduled a doctor's appointment, went in for an ultrasound. Really terrified. I had had an ovarian cyst before that was, they said like really, really large. I think it was 5 millimeters? Basically, he said, don't lift anything heavy, or, you will feel like you've given birth. It'll be a terrible pain. So I took that really seriously. The good news about that is that, if it doesn't rupture, it can just reduce and disappear on its own. A lot of these cysts we get are with our cycle, but the one that I had was just really, really large, so it had to be monitored. Now, the pain I was feeling didn't feel exactly like that. It just was sort of reminiscent of that time period when I knew something was wrong. So I decided to go to the doctor, went to the doctor. I remember feeling really, really nervous, having to take like my L-theanine mints with me, getting it done. And then whenever she was giving me the information and telling me, you have this large grapefruit size fibroid, and this is, it's a more rare form. It has this little stem. She was drawing a little picture, something like I would have drawn, like with the like stick figures. That's what it reminded me of. And she was drawing me this little sketch, but it was really helpful because I'm a visual person. And she was saying, this is, it's attached to the uterus with this little stem. And, this is how it gets the blood supply. And all of the words that she was saying were just jumbled. And I felt my heart beating out of my chest. And literally, I don't know if you're like this, but in those moments, like, I remember nothing. I literally remembered nothing. That's what I felt like. So thankfully, I had the sketch that she had drawn me, and I had some literature to take home, but I still felt very overwhelmed, very lost. All I remember is her talking to me about, she thought that my best solution would be to get a hysterectomy because of my history with really painful periods, because of my age, I'm in my late 40s, and because I didn't want to have kids. That wasn't a goal. And I just wasn't actually ready to take that step for numerous reasons. One, I just hadn't done my own research. I didn't know how it might affect my hormones. Even though I could leave my ovaries in if I wanted to, I just didn't feel like I wasn't ready for that yet. So long story short, I did that and decided, what can I do to improve this on my own? Because there is a chance that, with all of the information out there, that, perhaps I could improve my symptoms with things like diet or other alternative remedies. So I went into my exploration mode, and these are some of the things today that I wanted to share with you that have actually helped. I'm just going to be going through my journey while I'm getting ready. By the way, I just went on my morning walk. Walks really do save me. I don't know if you're like me, but I have suffered with anxiety since I was 19. I remember going to the doctor when I was 19 because my entire arm went numb. And by the way, because I'm in my late 40s, back then, 25 plus years ago, nobody talked about anxiety. Like the word anxiety attack just was not in our language. I went there, thought I was dying, and he said, have you ever heard of an anxiety attack before? And of course, no, I had not heard of an anxiety attack before. So he prescribed me something called Xanax, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. And throughout my anxiety journey, we should call it, I was fortunate enough to do some counseling, do some things, learn some techniques over the years to help me manage that. And eventually, after many years, I felt comfortable not having that reserve like hidden in the underwear drawer, you know what I mean? Xanax for that time that I might have an anxiety attack and feel like I'm gonna die. Finally felt like I could throw that away. And throughout my adulthood, I have found that there's other things that can calm anxiety, which I'm happy to share with you. But the reason I bring all of this up is because, stress plays such an important factor also on our body. I talk about stress and how it can lead to a process called glycation, which leads to aging skin. And aging skin meaning premature aging, the signs of aging that you don't want that are not just genetic. It's as if you go out in the sun unprotected and then you start to see signs of premature aging, right? So 90%, in fact, of sun damage or skin damage, I should say, is from the sun. So when you think about things like that, glycation is from sugar, your sugar intake. I've done videos on this, so I'm not going to get all crazy into it right now. But that sort of came back to me, thinking about the stress that I'm putting on my body, thinking about my diet. I am, self-admittedly a sugar addict. So that is, I know that's a problem, but how am I going to solve it? That's the question. And by the way, while we're chatting today and talking about diet and all of these things that have helped me with my fibroid, I am trying out this for the first time today. I actually put it on my face. As you can see, it doesn't really look like I have a lot on, but my face, to me, it looks and feels really nice and hydrated. It had the lightest tint, so if you're looking for something like with the true tint to cover concealed things, this isn't it. This is Rue Tinted Day Cream by Sonage, and I've been just trying some of their stuff here and there, and it feels amazing on your skin. So if you're looking for a very lightweight, very light tint, this is very beautiful. It feels very beautiful. So that's, I always like to say what I have on my skin in full transparency while I'm putting on makeup. This is beautiful. I'll actually take a little bit. I really like the pump too. I'll take a little bit and put it on my finger here so that you can see what it looks like. And I don't have anything on my neck. I usually will put my tinted primer on my neck because of these little lines here. I don't really like to see them, and my tinted primer helps smooth out the appearance of that. But this, just so that you can see what I mean by how light of a tint it is, you can't really see color, but it feels hydrating, it feels silky, it feels amazing, it smells pleasant. So this could be something for you. I'll put a link down below. Also was gifted this by Ever that's called Smooth Peptide Lip Therapy, and I'm all about lip stuff. I actually created a lip mask because I'm so addicted to lip products, and I have a wonderful chapstick, but look at this, look how beautiful this is. I used to use this lip product it was very short-lived. I believe I think it was Dior, and it reminds me, the applicator reminds me of it. It was just outrageously expensive, but it was so amazing, and this feels really silky soft on my lips, so I'm digging that for sure. Now, I actually do want a little bit more coverage, so as we chat, I'm going to put on my tinted primer and you'll see what I mean. It just has a little bit more coverage, which I feel like I just need. So I like to sort of press it in to wherever I feel like I need it the most, and then I just smooth it underneath my eyes, very important. And because it has that primer in it, it helps really smooth out the skin, super silky. Oh, feels really amazing. And you can either stop here, gives you that nice minimal coverage, or you can put a full coverage foundation over it. I have tons of videos with this in it. But now I feel like Jentri again. Okay. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, my name is Jentri, and I help women over 40 restore their skin. So fibroid issues, let's dive in. And by the way, full disclaimer, this is not medical advice. I am a seasoned beauty professional and licensed esthetician with over 25 years of beauty experience and experience in knocking things over as well. Very good at that. And today I'm going to be sharing some of my experience, how I've been able to manage my fibroid pain, because this is really the secret. My doctor told me that it was less about the size of the fibroid and more about the symptoms. So if you consider that the fibroid, if your fibroid isn't creating anything inside of your body, that's dangerous. And when I say dangerous, meaning it's not giving you any issues that are, to the detriment of your day-to-day quality of life, then, it really becomes an issue of managing your symptoms day to day so that you are not suffering. Okay, that's fair enough. My symptoms, after a year of doing what I'm going to tell you, did seem to subside. So I was really happy with that. And the bloating and discomfort also seemed to subside. Inside of my 1-year review, when I went back to get another sonogram, actually the shape of the fibroid had changed just ever so slightly, but the fibroid itself didn't really get a lot smaller, but I was okay. I was happy with that because it didn't get bigger. So one of the things that I did, and I spoke about this in my 1-year honest review of using castor oil, was that I did give it a really valiant, dedicated effort of applying castor oil concentrated on that side every day for over a year. And I will say I did notice a reduction in the bloating and the swelling, but I was doing other things as well. And I think that whenever it's kind of like if you do a test on something, a cosmetics product, right? You need to understand everything that's being used, right? If I tell you, yes, look at my skin, doesn't it look flawless and amazing? I'm in my 40s and I've just put on this awesome tinted primer, but then I also leave out the fact that I have had Botox and maybe I've had this or that injection, or maybe I'm using a really powerful, potent prescription over the counter. If I leave out all of those things, then I'm not really giving you a fair assumption. I'm really just kind of like trying to steer you in a marketing direction and making you believe that my results have come from said product. So I don't want to do that to you. I want to be very transparent. Do I believe castor oil helped? Absolutely. I feel very confident that castor oil helped, and I'm going to tell you why I feel that confident. But before we get to that, just to explain, I didn't actually use a pack, but I got a lot of questions on, talking about how castor oil stains the clothes. And that was not my experience, by the way, but if you feel like it stains your clothes, or you just want something that is less messy, this might be a really good solution for you. I'll show you what the box looks like. They sell it like this by Queen of the Thrones, which I'm really appreciative of. And you can apply the castor oil on this castor oil pack, okay? And that will make it less of a mess. It's just a nice, tidy way to apply your castor oil if you feel like you need it. And so many people swear by this, using something like this. I use so many different castor oils. In the previous video that I did, my 1-year honest review, I went through the different ones that I had purchased throughout the year, gave a few different options for price points, and and meeting certain criteria, like having it be organic and hexane free. Those are non-negotiables. A lot of people are really passionate about having it in the bottle. This one comes in the bottle as well as Heritage comes in the bottle, and whether it's transported or stored in a glass bottle is an entirely different conversation, and you can watch my past videos to know my thoughts on that. So today it's not about that. It's just about the fact that castor oil definitely did help with my bloating, with the discomfort that I was feeling. So I was really grateful for that. Now, somewhere along the way in my journey, one of my very good friends that loves to use, homeopathic remedies like me and a holistic approach, she told me she used to have a healer, and her healer actually used to be a pharmacist who told her, I'm going to put on this while I'm talking to you, and I'm using this. This is how the influencers do it. I always joke because I'm not an influencer. This is Mally. I purchased it twice now. It's called Evercolor Shadow Stick, and the color is Dusty Rose because it basically is like you know, it's like putting on eyeshadow, but it doesn't look like you're putting on eyeshadow. It just gives me just a slight contrast with my skin, which is what I want. I don't really want to, you know, Sunday, I don't really want to put on a bunch of makeup. Now, whenever you're applying it, especially if you have heavier eyes like me, hooded eyes like me, you want to, see, I'm relaxing my eyes where you see this, the saggy skin. You want to make sure that you start and you put that color, and preferably it's a matte color, right above that fold area so that it gives your eyes a little lift, and make sure it's a matte shade, and then you can come down. I like this because, you guys, I'm really lazy. I'm so lazy. I know I'm a beauty professional. I maybe, you know, it's kind of like the massage therapist that doesn't get the massage, or the facialist that doesn't get the facial. You know, I'm an esthetician. I've been in the beauty industry for so long. And, you know, some days I'm just saying makeup is not my priority, even though I love to make people feel beautiful, and I love finding, you know, sharing, I should say, beauty hacks. This is definitely a beauty hack. I love these new shadow sticks that have that primer built into them, so you don't have to do that extra step unless you're doing a full, if you're doing a full face of makeup, I always recommend doing a proper eyelid primer. There's so many good ones, and I have videos on that, so you can go back and watch those videos on eye makeup. But I personally love to use these sticks because they're so convenient. This is my matte beige brow highlighter, by the way. There you go. And I'll put links to this below. You just put it literally right underneath your brow bone, just like that, and it gives you a little lift. How nice is that? I also like to put it right here in the corner of my eyes, to really help brighten up the entire eye area. Again, this is kind of like my Sunday easygoing makeup, no fuss, no mess, in and out the door in 5 minutes when I'm not making a YouTube video for you. Okay, so back to fibroid. My friend's healer told her about introducing iodine into the castor oil mix. And so I did a video on this on YouTube as well, and I went through how much, things like that, to use of the iodine and the description. So I'll let you go find that. If you have any trouble, you can just shoot me some questions down below if you're interested. But that could also be a possible solution to helping you reduce the symptoms or the size of your fibroid. And, you know, again, this is not medical advice, and every single person is different, and everybody's body has, you know, you have to take a different approach depending on what the needs are. So maybe you have multiple fibroids that are unmanageable by some of the things that I am mentioning, and there are different routes that would be more beneficial for you. For me, they detected one really large one, and I'm able to go back and monitor and do the yearly ultrasounds to see if what I'm doing is managing it. So far, I've been lucky. I'm going to go in for another follow-up this year. This is 2024. So I'll be going back and I'll be reporting back to you on, you know, what the development is basically when I go. So stay tuned for that video. So castor oil, and then with the addition of iodine, may be helpful. Now, for me, I just really focused on the castor oil, and so I think that this year I will be introducing the iodine. And if I'm being honest, you know, life gets a hold of us and things get really crazy and busy. I pretty much forgot about, you know, the addition of the iodine. I sort of started focusing more on diet and eased up from doing the castor oil every single day. And let me tell you, I do regret stopping the castor oil consecutively, but the one thing that has helped me, I believe, above everything with my fibroid pain has really been, let me take a breath here, the diet. The diet has been the biggest thing. And let me tell you, it was no small feat. I started doing research, and, you know, what they say is whenever you're looking for something, you often will find, you know, affirmations instead of information. And, you know, that's because the algorithm, outside of us seeking certain things and finding that pointed information, you know, knows what we've researched before, and it just keeps giving us more of that. So I found it to be a really confusing way to find solutions when it came to diet, because every doctor would give different information, And so it was really hard for me to understand what would work and what wouldn't. And so I just decided to experiment and do what made the most sense to me. Now, when I understood that there could be a link between the fibroids and your hormone levels, which also can be affected by proteins, I decided to take my IHP, my integrative healthcare professional's advice, and take this certain type of enzyme. I will point to it below. I'm not making commission off of this vitamin supplement. I am giving it to you because this was what was recommended to me to take on an empty stomach in the morning to help break down those proteins, those things that could affect the fibroid. There are other enzymes that I've taken, and I will link to those as well that you can just go grab on something like Amazon. But the one that she recommended, that came straight from a professional's mouth that has way more experience. So I want to offer that to you as well. Now, moving on to diet. Because I realized that protein could affect my fibroid, I really took that seriously. But because I know that fiber and protein, things like that, especially as you age, are so important, I thought, how am I going to balance this? Well, for me personally, when I would eat too much red meat, I would notice a direct correlation in having these, I'm calling them flare-ups, meaning this pain is so bad, I can't stand it. If I don't take medicine, I'm not going to be able to manage today. So, that became a thing for me just by simply being hyper conscious of my diet. So while I'm talking, by the way, I'm going to try out this brand new mascara that I received as a gift from City Beauty. I usually, by the way, guys, I'm usually using this telescopic. It's my OG. I've always had one of these in my makeup kit, regardless of what other mascaras I've used and kept throughout the years. This is always my go-to. But today I thought, since I'm doing this video for you, let's try something new. And so you're trying it with me for the first time. And this is called Beyond Mascara. And so back to diet. So because of all the conflicting information, I'm gonna hold up my mirror while I'm talking to you. I decided that I was going to be more mindful of the types of protein. And also I thought, well, whenever I eat the proteins, even if it's not, the red meat, let me take an enzyme with that, since, logically to me, that made sense. Oh, this feels really nice, by the way, this mascara. It glides on really nice and pretty. Wow, okay. So for me, I don't want to say I follow a Mediterranean diet, because I really don't follow like a particular diet, but eating, more fish for me, fish doesn't seem to bother my fibroid. Even things like shrimp, other types of seafood do not seem to bother my fibroid. Red meat seems to be one of the culprits. Eating too much processed food. And by the way, this is very distracting because this mascara is really pretty. I don't know. What do you think? I like it. So it's crazy how much processed food we have, right? Even the cheese we eat is processed. And I live with an Italian, so we literally have a cheese shelf. Okay, so me cutting down on cheese is takes a little bit of discipline. But I will say the biggest thing outside of the certain types of protein, the red meats that have helped me with my diet, have also been, besides cutting down the processed sugar, which I think the processed foods, which is huge, the sugar. And this is one thing I learned from reading a book called The Glucose Goddess Method, is that all sugars are processed by your body or received by your bodies molecularly the same way. So I never really understood that fully, that maple syrup and honey and table sugar, all the types of sugar, even if there are trace minerals that are beneficial, or like honey, I'm a huge lover of honey, local honey, and helping it with allergies, giving it to my dogs, all the things. Love honey. But the one thing I never realized is that my body was still receiving it just straight up as sugar. Now this is different from eating fruits, because if you eat fruits and you eat them whole, you eat them with the fiber, right? So that helps with the process. It slows down that process absorption of sugar in your body, and you have, less of a spike. The correlation here is that sugar also affects the stress on your body. So if sugar affects the stress, puts more stress on your body, it is not only bad for your body, but it's bad for your skin. So whatever incentivizes you to cut down on the sugar, I'm not proposing that you do anything particular. Everybody's different. For me, I'm a sugar addict, so cutting down on sugar has been it's been like a real profound, almost like a religious experience, because I have to get really serious with myself and my intentions and like, why am I doing this? I'm not trying to do this for a month or 3 months. I'm trying to do this because I want to change this habit, this form. I want to change this within my lifestyle so that I am consciously making the decision to cut down on the sugar, and really just, whenever I have those moments of having it, I'm indulging in it, it being something that I truly, truly love, instead of just something that I throw in my drinks all day and drink without thinking about it. I feel like that has truly helped with my fibroid issues. And last but not least, truly, this has helped so much, walking. I'm not a gym person. I don't like to go to the gym. It's hard to get me to do any type of true exercise, but walking is truly like meditation for me. And I have to say that, it helps with stress management, which we all know affects the skin as well. Stress, skin, sugar, stress, skin, all of the things. So just simply moving around, increasing the blood flow. Let me tell you, go back just here for a second. When I started walking and I was having the fibroid pain, walking felt like a true obstacle, not because I couldn't walk, but because it was uncomfortable. I felt this really heavy sensation in my abdomen area, and it felt really full. And if you have fibroids, if you've experienced it, you know what I'm saying. Even sometimes if you're on like your period and you feel that fullness down there, it was so uncomfortable that walking wasn't pleasurable. And like I said, I love walking. And so I would have to walk so slow that I really wouldn't get a lot of benefit out of it. But I did, nevertheless, kept walking. So as I've started to increase my walking, I'll give you a little tip of what's helped me, and maybe it'll help you. I set really, really, really achievable, easy goals for myself. I would say, I'm going to go for one loop around my community, or I'm going to go for a walk for 5 or 10 minutes. And inevitably, I would always walk longer. Then I would set a further goal. Well, I want to walk 20 minutes a day. I think I can handle that. And once I met that goal, it was really easy to increase it. And if you don't even have to say you're going to increase it, just go set the goal, and the likelihood of it is that you will just naturally increase it as your tolerance builds up, as your stamina builds up. And before you know it, you will definitely be able to reach your walking goals. You start to feel better and better. It, releases that serotonin in the brain. So mentally, it's doing a good job on, the mental part of your brain that, sometimes gets depressed and wants to go to those dark places. Again, certainly this is not medical advice. This is just what has worked for me personally. If you have any questions about any of the things that we've talked about today, including my fibroid journey, I want to be an open book for you, because I want to share as much as possible to help you, to maybe just give you a little bit of hope that you do have some power. I think that we can take so much more power back when we have information. I always say the more you know, the more you glow. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Make sure and like and subscribe if you like this type of information, and set that notification bell so you know whenever we drop our next over 40 beauty video. And have a beautiful and blessed day, my friend. Ciao for now.